Whenever I need to send roses that are guaranteed to make someone's day, the only place I trust is 1-800-Flowers.com. With 1-800-Flowers, my friends and family always receive stunning, high-quality bouquets that they absolutely love. Right now, when you buy a dozen multicolored roses, 1-800-Flowers will double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. To claim this special double roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/Pandora. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Pandora.
Thanks for selling your car to Carvana. Here's your check.
Whoa, when did I get here?
What do you mean?
I swear it was just moments ago that I accepted a great offer from Carvana online. I must have time traveled to the future.
It was just moments ago. We do same-day pickup. Here's your check for that great offer.
It is the future.
It's the present and just the convenience of Carvana. Sorry to blow your mind.
It's all good. Happens all the time.
Sell your car the convenient way to
Carvana.
Pickup times may vary and fees may apply.
Someplace underneath.
You know the guy that was in the U-Haul truck?
You're talking about the Proud Boy thing?
Not Proud Boys, but they're like adjacent.
The U-Haul truck was Proud Boys, if that's what you're talking about.
No, not. I feel so stupid.
Amber,
no, it's not Proud Boys. It's the guys that were not that. They're like, they have, fuck my brain. They have khaki pants and blue shirts tucked in.
I'm sorry, Patriot Front is what you mean.
That's it.
I said the wrong thing. It was my fault.
Right. So J. Reuben Clark is an apostle because the leader of the Proud Boys, that's his handle, is J. Reuben Clark. So I looked him up. One of our very good listeners was like, look this guy up. And he is an old guy, an apostle, and he was a lawyer. A lot of racist stuff going on with this guy, too.
Oh, so he's using...
A guy from history.
He's using the pseudonym.
Yes.
Gotcha. He's got a big old hat on in his picture. So, first counselor in the presidency.
Very anti-Semitic.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, it's right in his Wikipedia here. Racism, anti-Semitism. You don't ever want that to be a section of your Wikipedia.
No. Yeah, Amber Nelson, born... racist comments, death.
Hey, at least they remember you, huh?
Yeah, gotta go out with a bang, I guess.
Welcome to Someplace Underneath. I'm Nellie.
I'm Amber Nelson.
I don't mean that. That's terrible. Don't. If that's all you're remembered for, what are we doing?
I mean, to remember somebody purely for hatred, it seems like you'd be forgotten. Like, you have to do something good. If you're just like a bad guy, completely bad.
Unless you're like, the old, Hitler or one of them.
Right.
But they're like the cautionary tale kind of people. You don't know anything else about him, really.
Right. Well, I feel like if you're in his head, you feel like you're doing a good thing. You're not like, and now I'm doing more bad stuff.
Yeah, but at a certain point, a lot of those guys, you would think if they really believed what they were doing, they wouldn't have to take so many drugs to keep going.
Right. What is it with the master race and meth? What's going on?
Well, I mean, for one, a lot of it is poverty-driven on one side, but like the Hitler side, it's the same with any of those cult leaders. Eventually, to keep the megalomania going, they have to start upping themselves to convince themselves that they're special, and they always end up taking drugs.
Evil never sleeps.
Yeah, they have to stay awake 24/7, for sure. Yeah. So, how you feeling? How you feeling, Amber?
I'm a little, my brain's not working too good, but, I'm very excited to have been a part of this experience and to have worked with you on this. And we've gone on such deep dives.
We really have. This is, we've come to the end of this season, and even though that's happening, this is our last episode for this season on the Latter-day Saints. Our interview series begins next week. Same time, same channel, So please stay subbed. We will be releasing the interviews same exact schedule, basically no breaks. So we talked to a couple dozen people for this season, and the on-record people we spoke to that we interviewed will be released one per week for the next couple months. Also, we will be adding content, including the video versions of these interviews, to our little tiny baby YouTube channel that we're just starting to develop. So if you're a YouTube fan, go on over there.
I like YouTube. The more, because social media, the reels on TikTok and Instagram, they gotta go. It's too much rage bait. It's too quick and really people like clap or they throw something real quick, and I'm like, every time. Oh God, I just want to go on YouTube and look at I ate everything in New Orleans.
Sure,
it's watch that or listen to us.
Sure, please. And you got to watch your algos, everyone out there. You careful what you're taking in. But yes, I also agree. I think TikTok is, I've had my little thoughts about it, whatever. There's good stuff on there too. So our TikTok will be revived. So speaking of, our TikTok will be revived as well. There will be new content over there. And if you could do us a huge solid and give us a star rating on Apple and or Spotify, it really helps us out. Written reviews are great, but if you just click the little stars, it's really honestly a great way. It does actually make a difference if you want to support. All that being said, we're going to do a little wraparound on the 40 episodes of this season that we've done. And I want to talk to you, Amber, a little bit about what you're feeling, what your takeaway is on a lot of this, because the victims in this, I guess I would call it like a church matrix. They really range across the map. The people who we would consider missing people inside of this web come from every single stripe of humanity, every country, every demographic, beyond basically the wealthiest old white guys. They're the ones who really benefit from this. Most other people are kind of suffering in one way or another. Beyond that, those guys. So my question is, why do we keep perpetuating it? Yes, there is force of hand, and yes, there are plus sides to being inside of a high control group like this. There is community. There is a feeling of solidarity. There's a feeling of coming together.
It's a safety net. Everything's taken care of. The world is kind of big and scary, and there's a lot of gray.
It's true, but it does deny your own humanity to a little bit of an extent. It is sort of like being inside of a dome.
Yeah.
And then just ignoring everything else. And I do think that is a problem. We all do it in different ways, but I do think in a high control group like this, especially when they have manifested like an entire state, that it can be a little bit harmful to the greater good of things. So...
Oh, yeah, they really do think the world's going to end. Jesus Christ's going to come back. I will ascend. You won't. So then we don't have to take care of anything right now. And I get to have my needs met right now.
Yeah. And that was one of the things we talked about with the religious scholar Joe Laycock, whose interview we'll hear, is about millennialism and about what possibly good parts can come from that and why it keeps happening, because it has continued to happen, the preparation for the end days, but we've really turned it into like a capitalist marketplace here in America.
Oh, yeah, you can sell the food buckets and the tents to sleep outside.
Get some last day merch.
Yeah.
Like maybe like some kind of light that you put on top of your head so that they can find you easier. I'm just spitballing here. Different things we can make here. But I kind of want to know, at least right now, Amber, what do you take from this season to be, what impacted you? What do you think is the more important part of maybe some of the issues we covered this year?
I'd say politically, if you have, this much money, and I think they have more money than the Catholic Church at this point.
They're definitely at least comparable.
They hide it pretty well, if they don't. But the fact that you can just buy off politicians and that you can even go up in government. And again, raised Southern Baptist, we were told to not partake in any sort of, not really trust the government because the government is America likes to say they're above God and nothing's above God, whereas Mormons do it, but they're like, nothing's above God, but we can be in government, and then we can fix it.
We are, if you think about it, we're essentially God, right?
Yeah.
What could go wrong there if you think that you're God? Totally, I agree, and that's maybe why we see more of this violence and this manipulation and control with finances on a wider scale than something like the Jehovah's Witnesses, where there is definitely a lot of abuse and there are a lot of people who suffer inside of that religion, but they, by and large, pull themselves away from certain otherworldly, outerworldly things. I guess not otherworldly, just worldly, right? They call it worldly. So there's a little bit less of the impact there, whereas the LDS Church has definitely embraced the idea of we hate the government, but we are the government. And they've kept that going since the very beginning. And it is deep inside of the United States government.
And it's crazy how your tax dollars can be used to just make more money. Money begats more money.
For them.
Yeah. And then I'm kind of starting off in like a fuck you point.
Yeah, that's true. And I would think that at a certain point, enough people are going to be kind of angry about that to have something change, because it just feels like, especially in the last 15 plus years, there has been a race to the bottom morally with wealthy people. And it's not a new thing, but we really have not cared to address the biggest elephants in the rooms in the U.S. And one of those is the corporatized churches, who are basically linked arm in arm with Wall Street, with all the billionaires, all the companies who the LDS owns stock in all the major companies.
They own stock, and they also start their own, and I learned from you, a shell company, which is just a made-up company. And those are just bopping around everywhere, and they're in Wall Street.
Yeah.
With their little Patagonia sweaters and their cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Just fucking us over.
Yeah, and I think there's no greater embodiment to that hypocrisy than, and I know I've mentioned this before and I'll probably talk about it again. I have video of it for social media, but the going to the temple, I know Britt Hartley, who we interviewed, also mentioned this. When you go to the temple in Temple Square in Salt Lake City, in front of the temple in, I think, the last decade, I forget what year it was found, maybe 2009, no, it was maybe after that. But they built the mall. So they took their tithing money. They say it's not tithing money, it's our investment, but that came from the tithing money. They built the mall in front of the temple in order to, well, they would never say this, but it was to keep people from, leaving. I don't know, like say people who are on the streets being in front of the temple. It kept the riffraff a little bit further away from that sacred space they have that is, I guess, just for the rich people. And not only that, but there's a big outside area all around the mall that is sculptures and decorated and all this stuff. It's really pretty, but there's a big plaque right in front of the outdoor area that says private property. And it's their way to make sure homeless people don't get closer to the church. And I think that is what our problem is with the church body in general in America. That's like an allegory for it, right?
Oh, it's right. They're like the others, they're poor. And it's almost like this, well, if they're poor like this and on the street, it must mean they're not believers. And they're not Christian, because if you were a Christian and you're a part of the community, we would have taken care of you. So obviously they're sinners.
Right. There's something wrong
There's
with you.
something wrong with you, so we should treat you less than human.
Yeah. Putting that distance on it is helpful to the church to have their members think that way.
Yeah.
Because they will continue to dehumanize people.
And you are faster, easier to be a homeless person than you're going to be a billionaire.
And yeah, I mean, all of us. Even if you're doing fantastically well, you're closer to homeless than a billionaire. And I don't know if we should ever really strive for that, because it seems to make people really sick mentally. It really seems to destroy some part of your brain that connects to other people. I just think that much money it's bad for humanity. Per person, I should say.
I mean, that's why the 1950s, I was saying this earlier, why everybody talks about how great it was. It wasn't because women and people of color didn't have these things we couldn't do. It's because there was no billionaires.
Well, yeah.
And there was VA benefits. There was a big bill or like a lot of money shoved into the economy to like make more kids, build more houses.
And then they took all of the they took that all away, and people started to just be able to profit with abandon, really, with really no guidelines or protections for people. And now we have what we have today. And we have people who are in the government who are trying to make it even worse.
Oh yeah, Palantir. I mean, I know that we're all being seen, but the thing is, Palantir, we don't even know what it is. They don't even tell us what it is.
I don't even know what that is.
It's some like government money operating cybersecurity.
Great.
And they're
I don't
also
even know about that.
Yeah, they're also involved with your boy Elon Musk, his Mormon friend.
Yeah, his fixer.
Yeah, his fixer.
The guy who.
So Mormons are in tech and security too.
Oh, FBI is filled with them.
It's drain your money, and then if you get angry about it, you can't really. What are you going to do? Riot? They'll shoot you down.
We're not going to get.
We're not going to do that.
We're not doing that. And I'm saying the same things as you, Amber. I'm not criticizing you. Things are bad, but we don't want to go to a point where we're like, abandon all hope, ye who enters.
Right. There is hope. The sun is shining.
Thanks for selling your car to Carvana. Here's your check.
Whoa, when did I get here?
What do you mean?
I swear it was just moments ago that I accepted a great offer from Carvana online. I must have time traveled to the future.
It was just moments ago. We do same-day pickup. Here's your check for that great offer.
It is the future.
It's the present and just the convenience of Carvana. Sorry to blow your mind.
It's all good. Happens all the time.
Sell your car the convenient way to
Carvana.
Pickup times may vary and fees may apply.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Maybe you're even barely getting by making minimum payments. With credit card debt hitting record highs, National Debt Relief offers real debt relief solutions for people struggling to keep up. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may be able to pay back less than you owe, regardless of your credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe 10, 20, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living increases. To find out how much you could save, visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Before we get to a little bit more of that side of it, for me, this season, what comes back again and again is Tim Ballard and what he represents. He, of course, has all of his direct victims. That's the women he's assaulted, the ones who have spoken out that we know of. And there's this huge likelihood, as Ryan Fisher had pointed out, that he probably has victims allegedly in other countries that we have no idea about, because he would do these things in impoverished countries pretending to save children. And it's likely that he probably assaulted, allegedly, people during that process. And we don't even know how to connect to them, which is something that Ryan brought up. He also has all the people he's financially manipulated through the lens of his church, his former church. He's been excommunicated since, but he gained a lot of his money and power through the LDS church. He has also victims in the greater public because of his propaganda movie who really do wish to help the children and who are not maybe ready to face the fact that what they are looking at and saying, I'm going to help them by doing ABC because it seems more comfortable to them, might not be working. Because if you're going to stuff like The Sound of Freedom and thinking you're helping by buying tickets for that movie, you're not. But he has created that entire framework to help people psychologically believe that they're helping by lining his pockets.
Because it's easy to buy a ticket to a movie. I bought a ticket. Oh my God, a child is saved somewhere.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh because that's horrible, but it's so absurd.
Yeah.
But I also understand. I mean, they have Jim Caviezel, Jesus Christ himself, in the credits being like, don't you want to help us?
Ugh.
And they're going to believe it. He also, Tim Ballard, represents political manipulation as he was feeding anti-immigrant rhetoric to our parasite in chief, who then uses his falsified origin story, aka The Sound of Freedom, to push for military spending, for ICE to ramp up violence, and for that stupid fucking wall.
There's already a wall.
There was already a wall.
That's why I'm a little confused here. It's like, well, there's a wall right there. I don't know.
I really feel like with the whole build the wall thing, it's just the most juvenile way you can reach a huge group of people in the idea of you're saving them. You put a wall up.
Right.
I tried walking through a wall before. You can't. If you put up, there's all the bad guys can't come in.
People need a quickie, snappy line.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to sit and listen to nuance. It's going to piss them off.
Right.
To be honest.
It's boring.
Right.
Ugh.
It's all these big words, you stupid bitch.
Yeah, exactly. If you just build a wall, even if there was already a wall there, it's not fun and exciting. You want to be able to do the chant, and you can wear your brick suit, like that one guy who always shows up everywhere, and you make friends through that. But he used Tim Ballard directly speaking to investors and government people, saying, this is why we need it. A story he made up as his origin story and then turned into a Hollywood film. He used that for politics in our country. Ballard's use of a powerful body like the Mormon Church to validate his ego is the embodiment of the danger we're facing as these parasitic, ultra-wealthy fellas and ladies vie for more and more power, something that is endless and will never satiate them, only destroy everyone else.
Yeah, that's why everybody, and I don't want to bring it out to looks, but they look like they're melting. Because they just hate every one of these people you've mentioned.
Yeah.
Their whole body's melting.
I do think it comes out at you eventually, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to hurt people all the time, I do think something starts to seep out of your pores.
It does. After a while, your thoughts show themselves on your face. Like, everybody's attractive when you're 20, right? But once you start getting
I don't know. I've seen some uggos.
Some uggo babies. But once you start, like, really getting those thoughts embezzled or, like, into your head, they start coming out. If you want to see who's hot, look at them when they're 50.
Sure. Love that. Look at more people sexually as they age.
Jerk off to your aunt. Come on, jerk off to your aunt.
Only the 50-plus ones, though.
Yeah.
So recent to this recording, and this is just a little bit of why this kind of integrating churchy corporation stuff into the government is such a big problem is, as we record this, Fuckface announced that President Fuckface, despite crime being down overall in Washington, D.C., that he wants to start charging 14-year-olds as adults. Like all apathetic responses to problems, the thought process there is just get it out of my face. I think that guy that got beat up, what's his name? Big Balls?
Yeah, he got beat up.
Yeah, so...
And that's why they're bringing in the National Guard. You can't touch him.
It is truly a staggering thought, but I'm pretty sure this is how that catalyst began, was that Elon's teenaged employee of the government was attacked. I actually should have looked this up more because I found it so hard to care about that kid getting assaulted, and that's not okay.
That's not okay. You shouldn't be assaulted. But what an ass. But then wasn't there also recently in news a guy who had sex with a minor, and then they were like...
Well, that was LDS.
Yeah, that was LDS. And they were like, we'll drop his charges.
It was one of the lawmakers' relatives who was 18. And they changed the law so that he wouldn't face charges. And then he was like, but it wasn't because of my relative. It was just because we were looking at different things to change. So Big Balls was I'm sorry. It's not okay that he was assaulted. It's not. But he apparently was assaulted by approximately 10 juveniles. If you really start to think too hard about this, I know why people get into conspiracies, because my first thought is like, they set him up to be able to like pinpoint why they were going to try to clean up.
Oh, they were like, hey, Big Balls, can I get some Doritos at the gas station? Yeah. Do you just walk over there?
I don't think that happened, but my mind wants to go there real quick. And I get why people go into these rabbit holes like this, because it's just like really convenient. Yeah, so I guess 15-year-olds attacked him for money. It was probably, I don't know, might have been gang related if there was that many. But they beat him up, and I'm not going to laugh about it because it's not cool to beat anybody up, even Big Balls. So then President Fuckface then comes up, says, we need to get these kids in jail because you don't want to look at it. You don't want to deal with it. It's this apathetic response that we see a lot on certain crime aspects. If you throw all the 14-year-olds in prison, it'll stop. When that doesn't work, Let's try 12-year-old, put some 12-year-olds in jail. See if that will stop the crime. Too many people on the streets hampering your view as you drive past in your limousine. Sweep them into incinerators. This has led to some, in my opinion, with all of that being said, which is horrible, people have now taken and run with this harmful overstating of ideas of why the president may be doing this. So some people are suggesting that he's attempting to get the legal age of consent lowered federally. So when his crimes eventually see the light of day, he won't have, quote, committed a crime.
Oh, right, because he was with children on Epstein's Island.
Allegedly, most likely, yes. Or just in general around Epstein.
Yeah, conveniently, people don't really talk about a lot.
I mean, people aren't letting this go this time, which I really appreciate. We'll see what happens, but people are not letting it go. That conspiracy is that. It's a conspiracy. It's kind of a few leaps too far to say that is why he's doing that. Just because there is no direct evidence of that. And so making those big sweeping statements might not be the most helpful thing to do, actually.
Right, because then it would put all of us in like the big stupid box.
Yeah.
But also if you lower the age of consent, more babies. And we got the birth rates pretty low. So if you start getting those 12-year-olds pregnant, what a great world we're going to live in.
Well, yes. And that's completely true that mentality fully exists. But we don't have evidence that he came out to do this to lower the age. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not to defend him, because this is the reason it's not super helpful. What I think some of the speculations are overriding more importantly than this idea of like saying, well, he's probably doing this to get out of his crimes, is that White House responded to these accusations of whether he's trying to lower the age again with this quote.
The smear is a blatant lie pushed by far-left media propagandists. No state in the U.S. allows 14-year-olds to marry adults, and the false claim that Republicans are trying to change that has zero basis in fact. But they're wrong. You can marry kids. You can even do it in California.
It's my point in that. And so far, in none of the media I've seen covering this, there is not a single person who seems to be pushing back on this utter lie coming from the White House. As of this recording, there are 34 states that allow adults to marry children. Not all of them allow 14-year-olds, but a lot of them allow 15 and 16-year-olds, and some of them do allow 14-year-olds. And it's maddening. And this is unfortunately why hyperbole, when you launch this conspiracy about this moment, it distracts people, even with people I agree with. Because, yeah, Trump might be trying something like that. I said it, whatever. He is disgusting. But the truth of it is already so bad, it just doesn't directly implicate the current president. And so it's being ignored. I'm bringing all of this up because the crux, the underlying issue is not the guy who's in there now who sucks on 1,000 levels. The people who are fighting to not get all of the states to become 18 no exceptions are almost exclusively religious conservatives. The people in the government are the ones fighting, and some of them have denied the changes. They have been brought up in almost every state, thanks to people like my homies at Unchained at Last and all of the people who are activists trying to work to change this to 18 no exceptions across the country. And the people who are pushing back are almost exclusively conservative religious politicians. That's it.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. I don't like what he's doing up there. I think it's insane making that proposition. We don't know if that's what he's trying to do. But the issue is it's already here. As much as I don't like the guy who's there now, this is an American tradition. It is inside of religious conservatism, like completely. So there are some states who have changed it to 18 no exceptions. There are still 34. Here is the stat from Unchained at Last.
However, child marriage remains legal in 34 states and is happening in the U.S. at an alarming rate. Unchained's research revealed that nearly 315,000 children as young as 10 were married in the U.S. between 2000 and 2021. Mostly girls were wed to adult men.
315,000 were legally married off.
And you know,
adults.
What's crazy there is if you're, say, 10 years old and you marry an adult and you want to leave him, you can't because you can't be divorced because you're not considered an adult to divorce.
Yeah.
But you are considered an adult enough to be raped every night.
You are. That's fact. And those children lost their human rights in those
They can't even
marriages.
run away. A lot of shelters won't take them. They'll bring them right back to their guardian, which is their rapist.
Yes. So that's 315,000 people. That is more than the population of my hometown of Pittsburgh, a city's worth of child victims, primarily little girls given to men legally. Not to discount little boys that this has happened to is also utterly unacceptable. It's just that it's the vast minority of the instances. It's almost exclusively little girls to adult men. While this is not solely the Mormon Church's doing, it is largely a church culture, and extreme poverty have led to these violations. Both ultra-capitalism and ultra-religiosity exists in worlds like the Mormon Church, and it is violent. We must decide whether we are going to unify against this obviously morally unconscionable act. Well, I feel a little bit like the Nicole Kidman meme after her divorce papers to Tom Cruise were signed at the end of the season because we ended up doing 40. I am so grateful to have been able to speak to so many of you and address what has been eating at me since we started this show. And while there are no simple answers of how to ease this level of suffering and wealth disparity in the world, having a frank and stark reckoning with the institutions that funnel billions of untaxed dollars through their church doors seems like it may be necessary for any form of future. On a more personal level, I think it's valid to look at your own life, and this is something I think is a positive. It might sound stressful to some people, and I don't want you to feel that way, but I think it's valid to consider what may be holding you back from what you really want in your life, and whether those issues holding you back really matter or hold any real weight. Because I look at these foolish men, these willfully ignorant leaders parading around in their costumes, and I remember them when I'm feeling doubtful about myself or wondering if I should really try something difficult or something that might not be perfect if I do it.
Right. These idiots are just doing it. They're pretending to be military and jumping out of helicopters.
They are. And they're also...
They're just liars.
They're also dressing up in white suits and telling you that they have the intel on your post-life experience. And they don't. And they are creating these sort of what we are supposed to consider niceties in our country. And I think that it's stupid. So I'm going on record to say that.
It's stupid. Have you ever seen the movie Mad Max when the people are running up to the king and he's like, the water? I feel like we're all one of those people and the LDS leaders are up there like drinking the breast milk and like...
Oh, yeah, the breast milkers, those machines.
And then having the water pumps turned on and then turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I can't speak for the director, but I think he probably was making metaphors in those Mad Max movies. And I say to you,
go do the thing. Go take the salsa dancing class.
Go after what you want. Wear what you want. Just, they are making it up.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Maybe you're even barely getting by making minimum payments. With credit card debt hitting record highs, National Debt Relief offers real debt relief solutions for people struggling to keep up. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may be able to pay back less than you owe, regardless of your credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe 10, 20, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living increases. To find out how much you could save, visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
This summer, Instacart is bringing back your favorites from 1999 with prices from 1999. That means 90s prices on juice pouches that ought to be respected, 90s prices on boxed mac and cheese, and 90s prices on ham, cheese, and cracker lunches. Enjoy all those throwbacks and more at throwback prices, only through Instacart. $4.72 maximum discount per $10 of eligible items. Limit one offer per order. Expires 9/5 while supplies last. Discount based on CPI comparison.
The authority that tries to create a binary or cram it into a faceted, complicated world is making it up. Don't make your life choices because some guy is pretending to have, He's got all of your paperwork for the afterlife in his hands. He's lying.
He's lying. They say, oh, we have near-death experiences. He's a liar.
Yeah. Not a single living person has the information about where we're going, whether there's a conscious entity in the cosmos somewhere. And while I certainly don't know myself what is out there, I do know that churches are just making shit up. I don't say that to scare you or mock people who have faith. If going to church gives you peace and helps craft you into a better person, a more compassionate version of yourself, that rules. But if it doesn't, it might be worth asking yourself if it is taking away from you more than you are getting back. Because again, you're not serving God by tithing. In the best case, you're serving your community and yourself, and that's super beautiful. But it is through the members of those communities that make it beautiful, not the temples, in my opinion. And that's just how I feel about all of this that we've read, the things I've learned over the last few years. It makes me think, for whatever reason, some of my first thoughts that come into my head about this idea is the simplicity of things like blue is for boys and pink is for girls. And sometimes people even put that into a religious framework.
Right.
And the reality of it is that blue is for boys because it served capitalism in post-World Wars. It was to have a thing to market to parents of baby boomers. It was a way to convince you to buy things. It's not some sacred ancient symbolism. Sometimes in the past, blue was a more feminine color. The concept of a nuclear family. It's been around forever, but it was pushed as the only option in the U.S. in the 20th century, primarily by churches and theocratic bodies because they're financially beneficial.
Yeah, if everybody has to get a lawnmower, you just sold 20 lawnmowers to the block.
Yeah, exactly. Not beneficial to that family, but beneficial to industry and government. They also have the potential to be more oppressive to wives and to leave children in isolation if their parents are unsafe. It sometimes can serve the machine more than the people. All of this is to say, sometimes we get caught in these trappings of normalcy, and at times it can lead to complacency in the face of darkness. Find what fills you with hope and compassion and let it lead you. And if that's religion, that's great. And if not, there are so many other places, spaces, people, communities who can nourish you. I don't know what you find that in, Amber. And it could be church. I know you still really like going to church. And I really would like to stress that I think that's beautiful. My grievances are with people who manipulate people to take their money and their autonomy away.
And it's hard to find the right church because you know how you shake hands? Sometimes I'll shake people's hands and I'll be like, oh boy, nothing in those eyes. Nothing in those eyes.
Oh, you mean when you do peace be with you and all that stuff?
Yeah, peace be with you. And this is coming from someone who was filled with so much fear my whole life. I didn't even know. I mean, I was doing things like running out of movie theaters if they had an upside down cross. Yeah. I would just break down crying if I saw somebody dressed as the devil. Like a lot of those repeated actions, I didn't even know how afraid I was. Right. And then one day I just kind of stopped, I guess. I was like, would God be so mad at me that if I saw an upside down cross, am I going to hell? Because I was so afraid of hell and burning. And then, I don't know, it feels good to just kind of throw that away and then go paddle boarding. You know what I mean? Where?
Oh, right. The devil's not in the... Wait, God's not on the water.
God's not on the water. I don't know. But wear a bathing suit. You know, I remember I used to not even wear shorts. I'd freak out. Yeah. And then moving to New York, that's what helped. I was like, oh, I can wear what I want?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It is a lot of times getting just around new people a little bit.
Get out of your towns. If your town is I know it's easier said than done. It was very hard when I did it and the economy was better. But if you're surrounded by people that are threatening you with violence, if they see a shoulder, pack your bags. Yeah. It's time to go. And you don't have to go to New York. Go to what's a cool one? Go
to Milwaukee. Or
what was that? They have that where was disco invented? Detroit.
Well, Detroit's the music is soul and R&B and everything.
Yeah, go to Detroit.
Are you talking about Prince?
Yeah, he was
there. That's Minneapolis, I believe, right? Okay. I think so. Yeah, Adam knows.
Yeah, get out. Also, the things you wear and what you see, it really does dictate your your thoughts. If I'm around trash all day, I'm going to think I'm trash.
You're not trash,
but I'm not. So
You're not
get
trash,
out of there.
Amber. I love dance. I love art, friendships, animals. I personally think transcendental meditation is fucking awesome. It has helped me a lot, and you don't have to be a part of a community unless you want to do that. You can do it alone. You can do it with people. I love seeing my friends' kids grow, social impact work, music, wonder at the universe. As dorky as that sounds, it really thrills me and makes me feel connected, and even some form of like astral spiritual way.
Listen to new music. Go to a library. Go to a museum. Just walk around.
Oh my gosh, totally. I mean, for me, that fills me up. Everybody's going to have their own different thing. But I want to do, I know usually we essentially give after every series we do per season, we talk about who we've donated to. I decided just to wait till the end of the season because I really wanted to get a fuller grasp and like a wider scope on what I thought was really helpful to people.
So we donated to the LDS church.
Yes. And so we our tithings over. First of all, I think one of the things I really wanted to cover is a more safe and proactive anti-human trafficking organization to support specifically because OUR has done so much damage. And actually, it's a difficult road to figure out who is doing the most productive, safest work in this world because anti-human trafficking work is extremely sensitive and complex. It's an epidemic and it exists on a learning curve, just like all of humanity. We're like trying to figure out what's best, how do we fix this, why is the problem happening? So if you go into this work, there are going to be mistakes and missteps in literally every organization. And because of that, nearly every org has faced criticism. And some of it is really, really bad, like with OUR. But a lot of them were having more like learning curve issues. And for me, it's like, I like weigh in on how bad the misstep was, or if it was intentional, or if it was received and they tried to write the pathway of what they were doing, because that's all any of us can do when we fuck up on anything. So for me, in my opinion, Natalie, I personally try to find secular or non-denominational groups, not because I hate church people, but I'm super against rescue agencies participating in missionary work at the same time because I just think it gets kind of hairy real fast.
Yeah, are you trying to like save the kids? Are you doing this for some ulterior reasons and like a lot of tithing money goes into it?
Yeah, exactly. And so again, another just thing, maybe if you want to look for your own people to give to you, I think that there shouldn't be footage of victims being saved in graphic detail. You shouldn't have access to information about the victims. You should be able to see that they have trusted partnerships with agencies who know how to rescue victims and take them to long-term care and resources with your money. But that is all to go without saying. But I will say you shouldn't be able to pay to LARP on a rescue mission a la Operation Underground Railroad. Fuck you guys. That's
fuck
insane.
you guys.
So
they really have manipulated so many people. Remember when the AC went out and then this woman was like, they're doing it so we don't see the movie. I'm like, no, I think you're just in a small town and it's really hot and the AC blew out. Yeah. People have just like wrapped their minds in this.
Yeah.
They are all in on this cult.
And you know, I get it because it's the same mentality of feeling like building the wall. It's like this thing you get, I see it, I understand this. This movie shows me who the good guys are and the bad guys are. The good guys look like me. The bad guys are gross, ew, different than me, and I don't like it.
It's like a children's story tale, which is cool. Like I love folk tales, but this is a child. I know when something's a children's tale.
Right.
This is being presented as real, and it's not.
Yes. So they have done a lot of damage because of that. The group that I ended up landing on is called Freedom Network USA. This is their mission statement.
Freedom Network USA mobilizes its collective strength to build a transformative approach to human trafficking that is grounded in anti-racism and anti-oppression. Together with our members on the ground, we envision an anti-trafficking movement where survivors have what they need to thrive, including access to holistic services that are available to all, and all advocates are committed to dismantling harmful systems that create vulnerability.
So I like them because they focus on both labor and sex trafficking. It's not salaciously labeled, and I hate to even say that, but there are groups like OUR who make it look, I'm sorry to say this, they try to make it look sexy in the sense of it's these big, strong military men. They're coming in, they're going to kick the door down, they're going to save these babies. And you're like, oh, wow. They're not doing that. This is focused. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. Their approach focuses on aftercare. So we'll be donating to them. It is, if you would like to check them out or do the same, it's freedomnetworkusa.org.
Interesting you bring up labor, because Donald Trump was involved in labor trafficking in Dubai. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting when people say they're signing up for ICE for the benefits and for the money. I get it, we're all broke. You know what I mean? Money's tight these days. But do you really think he's going to pay you?
They're not getting enough people, so I guess
you really think that?
They're not getting enough signups.
Kind of famously known for not paying people. So just keep that in mind.
I mean, historically, for decades. Really well known.
You're going to get used and fucked around.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to do to you. They're using you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and then they're laughing at you.
Yeah. I don't know if at this point, hopefully that can still get across to somebody out there at this point, but who knows? And then along that same line of activism, Ryan Fisher, who we interviewed, along with his co-host Cara Burrell, are continuing their work on having Tim face responsibility, and also, trying their best to help some of his victims in other countries, one of which is sitting in jail right now for 20 years, so that he could get off charges. So they're working, and so you can support their work. I do support them as well financially. They have a Patreon. Also, I would like to give you a reminder of floodlit.org. We are absolutely donating to them. They, of course, are the people who keep all of the files together, including interactive maps of all of the different people who have been members, bishops, clergy, presidents, disciples, apostles, all the fucking words there are inside the church who have then committed sex crimes. It is really hard to look at, but they do fantastic work. You can donate to them. We are absolutely donating to them. I also wanted to give a shout out to these orgs because we'll be donating to them as well. It's two different domestic violence shelters, one of them outside of Salt Lake City in Utah, safeharborhope.org. I had to really try to dig as deep as I could to find one to make sure it wasn't secretly LDS centered. This one seems like it's not. They are inclusive. They have, at least if they are secretly LDS, they are hiding it well. They seem like they do fantastic work. Also, Safe Passage Idaho is in Coeur d'Alene, which we've covered quite a bit of what bad stuff goes on there. And that is also seemingly, as deep as I could go, a safe place that is inclusive and does a lot of great work. So that is safepassageid.org. And the one in Utah is safeharborhope.org. I also wanted to throw out, this is just a collective of attorneys who basically center their work around helping people who have faced sex abuse in church. They have an entire part of their group that works for just Mormon church abuse, and it's the organization is helpingsurvivors.org, and you can find an entire LDS section if they can help you with some resources there. Last shout out, I will be giving some money over to the Mormon Stories nonprofit that they run to pay for their employees and helping people's stories get out. I don't think I could have done this season without Mormon Stories. I'm sure if you listen to this show, you've probably already familiar with them. But if for some reason you're not, they have, I think, almost 2,000 episodes at this point.
Wow.
And you can kind of get a lot of different kinds of information from them. So please give them a listen. And I think that is close to what I want to end on beyond the lovely women you're going to hear from at the end of the episode. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Really just hug yourself and hug your friends, and also go leave your town and go travel the world. I know it's easier said than done, but there's ways you can do it. You can couch surf. They have this whole worldliness is bad. Worldliness is good. Go see things.
It is.
Go see for yourself. They just want to control you.
Yeah, for sure. And also, if there are organizations that you really love and support, especially with anti-human trafficking, that kind of thing, please write in. We will look at them. We will share them. I always want to hear about people's favorite organizations that help victims. So please do that. And I want to leave you with some words on some more positive note from some of our guests who are we're not smart, but they're very, very smart. And they have some good advice for if you're feeling really overwhelmed by this, or you're feeling like you don't know what to do or where to go with a lot of this really heavy stuff. Also, fuck Tim Ballard.
Yeah, fuck you.
Theologian Sierra Jones.
So I'm looking at the world and also America is moving more far right and very religious. And as someone who, as yourself is deconstructed, mine also, how would you tell people how to deal with it, I guess, or how to cope, or how to live and not be so like stressed and bummed out? Because I get so anxious and scared, and like, how do I stop that?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Like, I want to say, like, I am scared with y'all. So I think understanding that there is I'm like, well, we gotta call someone else. I'm just kidding. Phone a friend on this podcast. But no, I think like I want to say, like, I also feel that fear. Something that James Baldwin and Angela Davis both talk about is like, James Baldwin always says like, something he says is like, love has never been a popular movement. He talks about this a lot in his work. And I've been thinking about that now. Like, what does love look like for me in this moment? And deep compassion for myself and the others who are in community with me. I name that because I don't always believe we have to have compassion for folks that have harmed us politically or socially. I think we can if that's our spiritual practice. But I don't always feel that for folks who have voted for Trump or have created what I consider to be a political hellscape for many of us. So I want to say, like, I'm not asking folks to do that. But for me, I do think, as I mentioned, like, rage is cleansing. So if you're sad, if you're angry, if you feel rage, allow yourself to feel that. Go to a rage room, journal about it, journal about it, light it on fire if you need to, like whatever you need to do to cleanse that rage and to acknowledge it, please do it. But something that I do feel like I did in my own deconstruction journey, which maybe is helpful to talk about here, is there was a time in my deconstruction journey where I deconstructed to the point of nihilism. Like, I just felt like nothing is here and nothing matters. And I think it's easy in this political moment to feel that way too. And something that I've found lately in running a lot of workshops through my consulting firm is just the gift of one-to-one connection. Like, it means something to me if I have a workshop and it had two people and one person says, like, being in connection with you or community with you changed my day to day, or being able to talk about this changed my day. And so I guess what I'm trying to tell people is, when the state of the world feels too overwhelming and too tragic, what are the one-to-one human connections in your life that are life-giving? What is a friend you can call, the family member you can call, the person you go to lunch with, the person you go on a walk with, that grounds you in your sense of worthiness and your sense of connection and your sense of being connected to the humanity around you? Because for me right now, one-to-one connection with Black women in particular has been my saving grace. Being with a community that loves me and sees me, who I grieve alongside, has really healed me. So I think when we feel this loneliness, when we feel this anger, for me, the answer is always dropping into connection. And so I wonder what that looks like, for folks.
Secular spiritualist speaker Britt Hartley. Do you have any advice for like first steps for people who have had a bit of a crisis and they feel a little hopeless and like rudderless?
Yeah, so I have two things on that. First of all is personality types really does matter when we start to get into the nitty-gritty here, because if you've been a punk rocker for a long time, you may have, as part of your personality, a high value for like freedom and authenticity. Like, that may be high core values for you. And people who have high core values of freedom and authenticity tend to do pretty well outside of religion. Like, they see the blank canvas of life and they're like, this is fucking fantastic. I'm going to paint whatever I want on this. But that's a certain personality type. Most people have different core values than that. And so if you have the core values of loyalty or purity, which we see specifically if you lean on the political right, or you really struggle psychologically with chaos. You need a lot of order and ritual and structure to feel safe, especially just like with however you were parented, where chaos feels really unsafe. Then this freedom that we have in nihilism to just like have life experiences and live your life, it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels paralyzing. It feels traumatizing even. And so what I have to do with that personality type that's not thriving post-religion is, how can we build up some order and structure and ritual and meaning and community and access to wisdom, all those things that you were getting from religion, in a more authentic way? How can we build that up so that you feel safe enough to be able to experience life. And so that's essentially what my book does, is here are all the aspects of religion that we know are good for you. Here are ways to kind of input it in your life based on your own core values. And so when you say where to start, I really start with people's core values, because we don't choose our core values, which is great news, because when you're in too much chaos, the freedom is paralyzing. And so core values is a place we can start, because you don't have to choose your core values. For as long as you can remember, you probably valued mercy over justice or justice over mercy based on whatever. It could be, combination of, nature and nurture, genetics and experiences. And so if we start there, which is not an arbitrary place to start, because you already have this, you already, just by walking out the door as an adult, you have had to prioritize things. And so you have a hierarchy of values. You have some values, some messages in movies that touch you more than others, that mean to you more than others, just naturally. Okay, great. That's a perfect place to start, because you don't have to choose it. Let's start there. And then what does it look like to have rituals from that place? What does it look like to build a life where those values are really prioritized? And how does that look in your life? And then we can start building some order and structure that will help you feel safe enough to essentially be crafting your own life in the dark, which is really freeing for people who love freedom, but really terrifying if too much chaos doesn't feel good, either because that's not a high core value for you, or because chaos in your young life was trauma. And so now you're having a trauma response with, oh my God, what do I do with my life? And I'm going to die. And now you're having a panic attack every night before you're going to bed. Well, we have to give you some tools for facing death. We have to give you some tools for sitting with not knowing. We have to give you some tools for rituals, which are really good for your brain when you know what to expect. It really helps you calm down psychologically. So if we can build a lot of that up from the ground up, then we can essentially ease you into this level of freedom that is intuitive for some people, but not intuitive for others.
Author and ex-Mormon content creator, Alyssa Grenfell.
Love to just mention your book. You said that this came together from conversations you were having with people who were maybe leaving or thinking about leaving, and you compiled things when you realized all of you kind of had the same questions. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had, because me and my husband left when we were about 24, 25. So we left fairly early on into our lives. A lot of people leave in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, or whenever. So of my friend group, I was basically the first person to leave. So when I first left, a lot of them totally shut me out, stopped talking, maybe sent one message to be like, I'm really disappointed in you. I thought you had a testimony. I can't believe this has happened. And then no, not really any more talking. And the interesting thing, and it's heartbreaking, but I think it's why it feels like the church is a cult, because when you leave, all of these people, bam, 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 cut off. And then slowly, one by one, they start leaving too. And then they kind of come sheepishly back to say, hey, I think I don't believe either. Can I talk to you? Because now everyone in my life is cutting me off, just like was done to you. And I've never held angry feelings towards any of those people, honestly, because once you've been in a religion like this, you so thoroughly understand that mindset of cutting people off that it's unsurprising that happened to me. And I knew it would happen when I left, which is why it's so scary to leave. So I don't hold it against them. And I think that usually when people leave, I'm like, yay, now we can finally talk again. And, then they want to talk about, it's like the dam breaks open. How do I tell my husband? What do I do with my kids? My son just got baptized. Do we stay in Utah? Should I move? I want to get, what underwear did you buy after you left? How did you try coffee? Did you wear tank tops? It's like a dam breaks open. And so because of how often, I started keeping a album in my phone of screenshots of when people would come out to me basically as I'm leaving the church, and they'd send me this long message, and often it was even people who I had never even been that close to. It was acquaintances that I knew from the MTC or from previous BYU wards who I was never close with to begin with. But when they leave, their first thought is, I only know one person who's left, who I can go to, and I know I won't get judged, so let me DM her on Facebook or whatever. So anyways, all of those conversations and my own experiences of realizing how hard it was to leave and how long it took me to work through some of these things, that's what made me decide to start writing the book.
You're a good person that you keep open contact with everybody and talk to them through it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I think too, I was so thoroughly a believing member of the church. I really never wavered in my belief. If someone that believed as much as I did could leave, really anyone could. And so I think I just hold that hope for a lot of people who are still in, because I feel like, if I could leave, anyone could. So I think that, there's a t-shirt that says, sorry for what I said when I was Mormon. And I think that a lot of people feel that way after they leave. And it's, you're just kind of brainwashed. You're just indoctrinated from birth. So I feel like there is still culpability, there's still accountability, but there's a reason why you're acting that way. I think a lot of people who watch my videos aren't just ex-Mormon, they're ex-Baptist, or they're ex-Muslim, or they're ex-Jewish. And I think a lot of people, religion is a very human thing. Humans invent religions. And so when people leave religion, it's often we go through a lot of the same things.
We do go through a lot of the same things. Go easy on yourself out there and lead with compassion when you can. Stay tuned for our interview series starting next week. Place Under Neith is produced and written by me, Natalie Jean, co-produced by Last Podcast Network, hosted by myself and Amber Nelson. Intro music is the song Subway by the Lunachicks, remixed by Devin Castaldi-Micca. Logo art by Kevin Conor Keller. Thank you to every one of you who wrote in and shared your stories. We read them, take them to heart, and we commend you for your bravery. Thank you to all of the incredible people we were able to speak with, interview, and correspond with for this season. And finally, thank you to our editor, producer, and engineer extraordinaire, Adam Wirtz, who came in and leveled up our show this season.
What?